Hello, this is Victoria Pendragon. This is my alternate reality, and it's still hot in my actual reality. I wish this was an alternate reality. It's not supposed to be hot up here in the hills. I want to get something straight today about a misnomer. People talk about something called past lives. I used to talk about something called past lives. When I was in my 30s, I guess it was, I loved the idea of past lives. I thought what a sort of a romantic thing it was. Wouldn't it be lovely if they truly existed? But I know there are people that will come across this and go, is she out of her mind? I really am a very logical, left-brain person. As a child, I wanted to be a scientist. And so past lives, as a concept, like, people would say, I was Cleopatra in a past life. Sure, you and 50 other people that I've run into. And I didn't buy it. Then I read a book by a physicist who writes for lay people. His name is Fred Alan Wolf. The book was Parallel Universes. And in explaining parallel universes, he had to explain, of course, the time-space continuum. And in explaining the time-space continuum, I suddenly understood not only that past lives were probable, but that I didn't see how they couldn't be a thing that existed, because they're not past at all. I now refer to this phenomena of energy appearing in different dimensions as alternate lives, and that's really a more correct way to say it, because linear time is a construct. Linear time, it's a lovely idea. I can meet you wherever I want to meet you at 2 o'clock because of linear time. But all linear time is something that we agree on so that we can make things work. It doesn't actually exist in that way. Time is a dimension. It is the time-space continuum. And that's what we exist in. Energy, meanwhile, the energy that powers our bodies, the energy that powers everything, is neither created nor destroyed. It just is. The universe just is. No Big Bang. It just is. And we are. When energy leaves this physical form, the one we're inhabiting currently, it does so as a kind of an illusion, really, because it's always somewhere, embodied, disembodied, whatever. It's always somewhere. Our energy might be a part of something that is containing many energies, or it might be something like this that seems to contain only one. Although certainly I have met people who said that they were carrying a number of souls, and I think that's quite possible. I don't know why it wouldn't be. So the correct term is alternate lives. And as I came to walk with that over the decades since then, I began to suspect that we all have access to vibrations from those lives. And I tell people that the best way that they can get in touch with possible alternate lives is to make notes of the following kinds of things. Periods of time that you are particularly drawn to for no reason at all, like when you're studying history. If you feel like you were a part of the American Revolution, or you feel like you were a part of the Renaissance, if there's just something, and you can't put your finger on it, That's probably because your finger's in it. That's what I think. Likewise, costumes that you may be particularly drawn to probably speak to that sort of thing. I think things that you are afraid of for no apparent reason may have something to do with alternate lifetimes. In fact, I once had a regression. In other words, I was put into a trance and allowed to explore other dimensions of myself. And I had an experience of being thrown from a horse and thought to be dead and buried, although I was alive, which brought up two things in this life. I have a thing about horses. I adore them. I love them. I don't feel it's right to ride them, at least not for me. I believe that I was a horse in perhaps many lifetimes. I believe that the other thing is that I don't like the idea of being thrown from a horse. I suspect that one lifetime has something to do with my not wanting to ride horses also, not just because I respect horses. And as a kid, I guess they were the Edgar Allan Poe stories about premature burial. Oh, it terrified me. Terrified me. Probably because I was at one time. And I believe that there are all these little resonances that happen for no apparent reason. They're in this lifetime that are clues to other lifetimes in which this energy may be involved. And because there is only the now moment, ever, the now moment in this lifetime is a now moment in some other lifetime I'm experiencing as well. It should be easy for information to slip back and forth between these lifetimes, between these points of consciousness. That should happen easily. There's no reason it shouldn't. So, if you're interested in your own alternate lives, I suggest you make lists of these things that have no reason for being, likes and dislikes, fears, loves, attractions that have no ground that you can particularly find in this lifetime, but exist. And make a list of them. What happened for me as I began to do that was that sometimes something would be triggered. One day I was driving down Route 73 in Marlton, New Jersey, and a small, one of these two-people planes, I don't know what you call them, they're sort of old-fashioned looking planes, came rather low overhead, and all of a sudden I had just an opening in my mind while I was driving, thank you, of this other lifetime that I participated in around the time of World War I. And I was in Scotland, and I worked in a bar, and my brother was killed in a plane like that. And it was just all of a sudden this knowingness. It seems to me that what has happened, for me at least, is that as I began to accumulate this information, I was telling my body, this body, and the soul that resides within it, because the soul, of course, goes with the human body. It's a partner to the human body in all these lifetimes. The soul exists in every lifetime. This body exists in this one, but the soul is in all of them. And it's got that information. And once it catches on that you're interested, I think then you have access to it. Perhaps not at your will, but perhaps at your will. If you're put in the right state, like if you're regressed or you put yourself into a meditative state and you simply allow for something to happen. Allowing is huge. directing has more to do with the mind, and access to these other dimensions, like so many things, is something that simply happens when you're ready for it. And when you are ready for it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, you acquire a certain facility and a certain ease and a certain skill that allows it to happen. You can't make these things happen. But you can create a space in yourself where something can happen if it wants to. And again, by making these lists of things for the alternate life stuff, you're feeding your spirit, soul, interdimensional self. You're feeding that information that this is what you'd like to do, this is what you want. So give it a shot if you like. And, gee, it would be really nice if we could all begin to refer to this phenomena as alternate lives. And then perhaps people would more get the idea that there is only the now moment. And that would be an excellent thing, because that's the place to be. And now, I must go. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.